What is grief? How do we manage it? What happens when you love someone and then they're no longer with you? How do we allow ourselves to integrate the grief with our everyday life? Stay tuned to have those questions and so much more answered on Am I Crazy with me, LaShasta Bell. Our guest today is Monalisa Bryant. Monalisa is an entrepreneur, a mental health expert in the field of grief and couples. She's here to share her story and her journey, so stay tuned as we come back to discuss all things grief and how to live your best life even when grieving. Stay tuned. Do you have a story to tell? Wait. We all have a story to tell. If you are ready to tell your story as it relates to your mental health and the journey, the struggle, the management, the awareness, the lack thereof, we want you at Am I Crazy with LaShasta Bell. And what about sponsorship? Oh, thanks for asking. Because there's also the opportunity for sponsorship. Do you have a product? Do you have an event that you want to shout to the world? If so, check out our sponsorship. Same place as the guest form. See you soon. We offer face-to-face and virtual counseling throughout the state of Texas. www.ichoosemecounseling.com. So thank you so much again, Monalisa, for coming and being part of this first season of Am I Crazy? I really do appreciate it. And I know we clown and we cut up offline. We're going to try to keep it to a minimum for y'all today, y'all, but just in case. So when we talk about mental health, we know that, today you sit before us as a licensed professional counselor, but that's not always been the case, nor the journey. When did you know that this would be where you're at right now today?
Oh, wow. I try to make very calculated decisions. So I was originally going to school for biology. Both of my parents, I lost them due to cancer. And so I wanted to become a doctor. And I can't think of the name of it right now, but I wanted to find a cure for cancer.
Was it oncology?
Yes, oncologist. Yeah. Yes. And so, that's how I done forgot. But I couldn't pass a biology test for anything. But I'm thankful for that experience because I've been able to transition and learn about psychology. And I really didn't know psychology was a thing when I was in college. So I researched it, I got started, and I think that's when I started on my mental health healing journey to learn more about myself and that personal development.
Nice. So I heard you say you lost both of your parents to cancer.
Yeah.
Now, without giving your age, youngster, that's what I affectionately call you. That means that happened before right now today.
Absolutely. Ooh, if I had to guesstimate, my mom, I lost her maybe about 14 years ago now. I was age 16. Oh, you said don't give my age.
You can give your age. I didn't want to give it. It's yours to give. It's yours to give.
Yes. And so then about 4 years later, I lost my father while I was in undergrad. So yeah, a long time without them here in the physical realm. But I think it also was very enlightening for me. I had to grow up fast. Gratefully, I had a mother who kind of raised me to be aware of the things that a woman should know about that are necessary to your growth at a young age. So I think even when I lost her, she was still within me because today when I look at myself, I'm like a split image of her. It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy.
She deposited all the good stuff. So from adolescent, teenage, 16, you know, which some of us out here have 16-year-olds, so we know what that life can be like. From there to age 20, 21 was the span of, you know, you losing both parents, but you sit before us today, well-rounded, well-adjusted, a whole boss, as your shirt say, black, brilliant, billionaire in the making, no lies told at all.
I appreciate that.
How? Like help the people understand, how do you manage, how do you thrive and survive with grief and mourning, but of parents? Like, cause that's huge. Like, I've lost people in my life, lost a sibling, but when you talk about both of your parents, how are you who you are today from that place of from 16 to 21?
It was some years of craziness. When I look back, so you know how on Facebook it lets you look at your memories, and I get some of those memories, and I'm like, oh my God.
What the hell was I doing?
Right. So it was some crazy years, you know, going through the stages of grief and not realizing that's what it was. So I had a lot of family support. I had a lot of friends who were supportive, but no one told me about grief. It wasn't talked about. No, maybe they didn't know. Honestly, I think they didn't know. But as I moved to studying psychology, that's when I learned about it. But when I think back, there were years of anger, jealousy, I would say, of people who did have their mother specifically. I'm like, why can't I have that? No one's telling me, like, you're grieving the loss. So sadness, a lot of years of sadness. And I think at some point, as I got on what I called my age of enlightenment, that's when I developed acceptance, like accepting it, looking at death differently than what I had originally looked at it at age 16 when, you know, we young, brain still developing. So much we don't know. Oh, I thought I knew everything.
Right, everything.
Know it all. And now I love that you pointed out the fact that I'm well-rounded, because now I think that those losses have changed me, because I can actually say, like, I've lost a lot, but thankfully there's so much that I've gained from that piece of my story, which is to me, it's my internal growth, my sense of being. And I like to look at things on an existential view as well now that I'm in my 30s compared to that 16 to 21 range when I lost them, which was the crazy years. Now it's like, okay, at some point I'm going to leave this earth. I want to leave my mark here daily. I want to be doing something to be of help, not only to myself, but someone else. So it's definitely shaped me in a positive way.
I mean, that's good stuff to be able to, one, like you said, look back, but also I'm hearing you say, okay, it was crazy years, but you also in college, like you're pursuing the education you need to be the licensed professional before us. So they were crazy years, but there was something there that kept driving you to learn, to grow, and now to be a counselor that specializes in grief.
True. I really just wanted to know myself.
Gotcha.
As a counselor, we're both in the field. It's so important that we know ourselves. And so I think I got into this field wanting to know more about Monalisa. Like, I needed to know more about me, and I no longer wanted to be that person living with anger or sadness. I didn't want to be victim of that. And like, it came full circle.
It changed the game. I mean, for you and thousands that your practice has touched, has healed, that's amazing. Like, to say, okay, I'm going to go sit in this classroom to learn about me, because obviously the people around me can only give me as much as they have. And we know in our community, when we talk about death, it's usually likened to spiritual or I'm gonna say religion, and not even spirituality. And so that's the end. They in a better place. Period.
True.
Like that's all you got?
Right. I don't want to hear that.
Well, what am I supposed to do with this over here? And so it's important to understand and for you to highlight, like, they were a good support. They did help me, but there was not that information, that education, that knowledge around what I was experiencing. And so you went in the classroom and captured that.
For real. That's exactly what I did, because I remember so many individuals when I was 16, the loss of my mom saying, of course, God isn't going to put anything on you that you can't bear. Or I perceive that as God gave this to you because you can handle it. And in reality, no one needs or wants to hear that when they're grieving. And so even though those individuals gave me exactly what they knew to give at that time, I knew that I needed to give myself more. I knew there was more. And so, yes, I sat in those classrooms. I even managed to graduate with honors.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So I went from failing these biology tests to having a less than a 2.0 GPA, losing my financial aid temporarily for that reason, and then switching to psychology, which I think should have always been my life path. Got on that path, straight A's, and graduated with honors, which is crazy.
Come on now.
So
it does. You say it's crazy, but it makes sense
It does.
when you found where you were supposed to be. And there's so many of us that are in the field from things that we experience or in our prospective careers outside of counseling. It's some type of life experience, and where you thought initially, oh, I'm a cure cancer. Really, what you were to do is help those that are grieving to cure their grief. And so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Monalisa will chat about after the grief, or what her life has become with the grief integrated into her being. We'll be right back. Do you have a story to tell? Wait. We all have a story to tell. If you are ready to tell your story as it relates to your mental health and the journey, the struggle, the management, the awareness, the lack thereof, we want you at Am I Crazy with LaShasta Bell. And what about sponsorship? Oh, thanks for asking. Because there's also the opportunity for sponsorship. Do you have a product? Do you have an event that you want to shout to the world? If so, check out our sponsorship. Same place as the guest form. See you soon. So we were kind of talking on the break about the pivot and the shift from the sadness and the anger, which are identifiable, sometimes likely stages of grief, but then the acceptance. So now we're resting in acceptance. Tell us, what does your life look like today with the acceptance of your parents not physically being here with you?
I think now it looks like me choosing to live. So I have made a huge decision to prioritize myself and to live to the fullest, because the way I chose to look at it is I have my own soul as well as my parents had their souls. So let me experience the most of my soul so that I can enjoy this experience in the physical realm. So now it looks like me traveling.
Stay taking a flight. Goodness gracious.
If I can get out once a month, that alone is so rejuvenating for me. And I have so many responsibilities. Of course, we both do.
Yeah.
But that getting away piece, especially to some water or to anywhere in nature, just rejuvenates me. So part of that acceptance phase was me deciding to become one with the universe, with God, whatever we choose to call it. For me, it's being one with nature and enjoying nature. So anywhere I can go enjoy nature,
which is everywhere. all of the
We
places.
can go enjoy some water somewhere.
Look,
I'm
exactly. And so what I'm hearing you say is like you're not escaping. You're not running away from grief. You're not trying to get away from the pain. That you have sat with that. You've allowed it to be integrative and part of you. And your travel is a way of rejuvenating, not escaping.
Right. 100%. Now I think early on I probably was traveling to escape, but over time as I've learned myself more and more, because I think we both would agree, learning should be on a continuum.
That's it.
Right. So as I've learned myself more and more, now it's like I'm escaping to rejuvenate. I'm not getting away to escape.
Right. It's that hitting that reset button. And I know like by the time we were about 3 months or 4 months into the pandemic, I'm like, oh, I have to.
We need it.
I needed it, and I don't know that I realized to the extent that the travel was needed until that moment, because everything just felt chaotic. And when you run a business and you're helping people with their hurts and pains, it's not so easy just to have a staycation. So I know I was like, hey,
Right.
you want to hop in the car? Like, we don't know if it's safe to take a flight, but we could definitely drive somewhere. And that was our first time traveling together. And I think by the time we got to end of 2020, we were at 3.
Right.
Three.
Right.
Three different places, including international, in all aspect of nature or water or beach or whatever it may be, because that energy, like they say, energy doesn't go away, it transfers.
Exactly.
I'm like, I got to release some stuff to the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got to give it to Mother Nature sometimes.
That's
so we
it.
can get it back in other ways.
Exactly. So that we can give it to the people. So traveling has been one of your go-tos, your staples to help you rejuvenate, reset, to keep that balance. Is there anything else that you can identify, like, this is what I do to keep myself balanced? This is what I do in times when it's around the anniversary or birthdays or holidays. How does that look for you today?
Yeah, I think it's important to realize our body does keep score. So in the midst of...
Wait, hold on. You're going to have to tell the people what it means for the body to keep score. You know, I know, but go break it down. You don't have to break it down till it's broken, but just give them a little bit of what does it mean the body keeps score.
Yeah, so even though we may try to escape or within our thinking believe that something isn't happening, our body reminds us. So like you mentioned, those anniversaries, the anniversaries of either the death or birthdays, things like that. You may not be thinking about it, but your body remembers and reminds you. Like, so for instance, I lost my father the day after Christmas. So Christmas since then has never been the same. However, one way I cope with that is I realize how I'm affected by it. I take time to reflect, but then I also don't allow myself to sit in pain for a prolonged period of time. During that time, I choose to celebrate because, again, I've made a radical decision to choose myself and to prioritize myself. And that also means, like, my dad want me to live, so let me live.
That's it. But the body will keep scoring.
Yes.
You know, back in January, we got together with our therapist friends, and I'm like, y'all, I'm struggling. I'm depressed. I done did the PhD. Yeah, I done did the scale.
Yeah, you did.
And because I had the awareness physically and emotionally that it was going to make 25 years of my little brother dying, you know, that my mom was having a birthday in conjunction with that, and we were not going to all be together. And so sometimes the body will let you know, but even when you have that memory consciously, having that conversation and talking, because, you know, granted, I get to sit around a circle of therapists, right? But even if you guys weren't, you all would have contributed something like you did to help me to get into a better space. And like you said, not sitting in the pain and knowing what to do or to reach out to someone who may have an answer, or reach out to a therapist that has an answer, because grieving is forever. Like, I don't know about you, but I haven't stopped. It's been 25 years, you know. I have not stopped. It's just, it looks different. It can look different each year.
Right. That's true. I'm glad that I'm so thankful that we met because we connect on so many different levels. But I'm thankful that I could be there for you during that time. Because you're right. Like every year could be different. But that is proof. We both have lived the fact that the body does keep score and remind us of things.
That's it. That's
And
absolutely it.
grief, we will get reminded. But I think that's also a reminder for us to pour into ourselves. Healthy hobbies.
Healthy hobbies.
Yes.
Yes. Traveling is a healthy hobby.
Yes. Yes.
What else do you feel like? I keep hearing you say, like, I made a radical decision to choose me. I made a decision to prioritize me. And you know, the moment I hear prioritize, I'm like, our retreat.
Yeah.
That. You know, that the retreat, having that opportunity to allow women to go and understand and learn how to prioritize themselves, because I think we do that the least, but we need it the most.
100%. Yes, 100%. And I think it's amazing that we can collab and be able to provide that energy to women like ourselves who need it and need that reminder. Because I agree, we get so caught up in providing for everyone else, making sure everyone else is taken care of, which easily could mean us forgetting about ourselves.
That's it. And especially when we run businesses and just in friendship, when I feel like when you have that space where you care and about other well-being, it filters to every part of your life. Like, it's not a switch that you can turn off and on as a therapist, especially when you truly do the work to know yourself.
Right.
Like who you are and what you do, it integrates. So,
Absolutely.
you know, I was on the phone the other day with somebody and they was like, it sounded like they was at the end, they was like, oh, thanks for the free therapy session. And they laughed. And I'm like, well, this wasn't therapy. You know, I don't, this. And
Right.
she was like, yeah, I know. And then later she texted and was like, I hope I wasn't rude by saying that, because I don't want you to feel like I'm taking advantage of you. And I'm like, no, it's actually a compliment, because it shows me how I've chosen to know myself and it's integrated in the work that I do. So there's not a switch that takes place.
Right.
It's just ongoing. I know that I'm not finna like really ask you how you feel about that. I'd be like, suck it up, buttercup. But it's still the same rhythm and rhyme.
Right.
So you talk about healthy habits, talking about traveling. What else, if anything, that you do that helps you just throughout the continuum of grief, like you said?
You have put me on to the essential oils.
Oh, yeah.
So I find myself now, I have 2 spaces where I have a diffuser. So I'm using aromatherapy. I'm allowing myself to light candles after I see clients after a day, relaxation. Sometimes I think we just need to allow ourselves to be, because we can get so caught up in thinking we need to do this, that. Allowing ourselves to stop and be. Journaling, taking a bath. I'm working on getting on an exercise routine, because we know how much that helps us to release endorphins to feel good. And no matter how tired I am, when I show up to the gym, I do feel better after.
That part, exactly. The trainer kicking your butt at all.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, just incorporating healthy habits into our daily lifestyle that provides us the necessary rejuvenation we need to keep going in this society where it's so definitive on results.
And unpredictable results at that
That
sometimes.
is true.
So you just dropped all the gems of what you do and what can be done to help us maintain in any season, but definitely through the grieving process that's a continuum. So it kind of feels redundant to ask this question, but since I asked everybody else, I'm gonna go and ask you.
Let's do it.
If it was one thing that you wanted to leave with the audience, what would that one thing be?
My one thing to the audience is prioritize yourself, make time for you so that you can have the energy to be there for someone else. We cannot pour from an empty cup, and if you can't give, then the other person cannot receive. So prioritize yourself and live your life to the fullest.
That's it. That's good stuff. You got your own soul. Remember that. I love that piece. Like, I got my own soul that needs to experience all the greatness. So I appreciate you again for coming in and dropping the gems and laughing it up. And
For sure.
I am just as grateful that we met and connected that you are, because we do know how to have a good time.
For sure.
And the hopes is the people follow us, because the women, we got an international retreat coming. Just hold tight and make sure you stay tuned in.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.